Today on the channel we're going to change strings and set up my double neck Gibson EDS 1275. Okay, so let's take a look at this thing. This is my custom shop EDS 1275. This was made for me by Gibson, and it was they sold it to me at cost. I won't really go into how that all transpired. It's in a video prior on my channel. I cover this guitar in 1 or 2 videos. I'll see if I can find it and link it in the description or at the end of the video. But Gibson made this for me. It's from the custom shop. I've had it for probably 10 years now or so. I love it. This thing's been on a few of my recordings. I've done some performances with it. Never really any gigs, just some performances, and it's in mint condition. The guitar sounds great. It plays excellent. The action really isn't bad. It could be a little bit better. So I think it always was a little bit on the high side. So I'm going to adjust the action and get some strings on it for the bottom and the top neck. And set it up, polish up the frets, clean the fretboard, give it the works, give it the full treatment that it deserves. I'm a little bit embarrassed that it's, I had never done it, but I'm just not really, just never really wanted to change strings on it. This is my booklet that I got with it from the custom shop. Not really a lot of case candy. It's got the warranty card, and it's got the the bumblebee things in it, and silicone bag. Nothing really special. So yeah, that's it. So let's get this thing on the bench and get to restringing. Okay, so here we are. We've got it on the bench, and I've got these D'Addario XL 1046 strings for the double neck. Got those special today, and I've got these regular sets. These are 9 to 46. I'm going to put those on the 6 string, which I've already got a pack of these out already. Hopefully this camera angle is picking up okay. It's hard to film this stuff, so I may do some time-lapse cinematography, because some of this can take a long time to get done. So what I'm doing now is I'm loosening up the strings on the 12 string, obviously, duh, and let me get these nice and slack. It really is embarrassing that I haven't strung this thing up in a decade. It's one of those things where I'm like, I'll do it, I'll get to it, I'm going to get to it, I'm going to do it. And it just didn't happen. So today's the day. I don't think I've ever had a guitar that went that long without getting strings. Usually the limit for me is about 6 months, and those are on guitars that I just don't really ever play. But I go through my guitars quite frequently and set them up and clean them up, treat the necks. And a guitar of this value and stature, it deserves better. Almost didn't post this video because of that fact that I haven't changed strings in forever, but I thought, I'll probably get clicks if I put something in the thumbnail like, I haven't changed strings on this guitar for 10 years. And I thought, well, since I'm doing it now, I'll just make you guys suffer with me. We're doing it together. So first things first, getting these strings off the guitar gently. For as little as I have played it, there's definitely pick marks here on the pick guard. I shouldn't say I've played it little. I have played this guitar. It doesn't just sit around forever, but it's one of those guitars that just does not, doesn't get played because of its, I'm scared to bring it out, really. It's, I don't want something to happen to it, and I don't want someone to steal it. It's really difficult to take out if you're going to go play somewhere, and you're not going to play it on every song. So all right, I am going to stop the camera and get the strings off of this guitar because these are put on there Gibson style, locked, which I can't stand, but anyway, I'm going to get these strings off and we'll be right back. Okay, so 5-6 minutes later, and thankfully no finger bleeds. I didn't do any blood tests involuntarily taking these strings off, which is a miracle. I've noticed that this fretboard is extremely grubby, and these frets are quite nasty, so surprise, surprise. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to polish these frets up just a little bit. I'm not going to do a real intense fret polishing job on these, but I'm gonna polish them up a little bit. I've got this Nomad stuff, this what is it? Frine Fret Polishing Kit by Music Nomad. Okay, and it's nice. It won't hurt the fretboard. So pretty much what I'm doing here is I'm going to take some of this fret polishing sauce, I guess, for lack of a better way of putting it, and I'm going to put a little bit on each fret. Man, these things are dirty. Never really had this on the bench and inspected it. The longer this video goes, my level of embarrassment for not doing this for so long is getting worse and worse. Until you really inspect something and you get it on the bench and you look at it under really good lighting, you never really know just how rough some of this stuff is. The frets are in great shape. They're just not shiny and they're gritty. The fretboard is quite dry. It's not, nothing's damaged. But this fretboard is quite ashy. This rosewood will darken up so nice. And with the strings off this guitar, I'll be able to get the body cleaned and waxed up really nice. So I'm not going to film the entire fret polishing and cleaning process because it would take quite a long time. But what I'm going to do is take some of my quadruple zero steel wool that I've got, and I'm going to go over each fret with my fret guard. And I've got some fresh steel wool here, just a little piece in my hand, and I'm going to spend a minute or so, a couple minutes on each fret. And then I've got this buffing cloth that came with this frying stuff, and I'm going to wipe the frets clean. So right there I'm able to see a big improvement on that fret. I know the camera angle is not great, it's far away, but yeah, that's a complete different looking fret right there. So thankfully these aren't like rusty or in really super bad shape, so a little bit of love on these will go a long way. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of all these frets, and we'll be back in a moment. Okay, I've got the frets polished up. They look quite nice, pretty decent there. Kind of get this on camera a little bit better. Okay, so much nicer, and time to put some fretboard conditioner on here. Now this stuff here, this deep conditioner is really good. I love it. It's, you know, like a lemon oil. But one thing I like to do first is put this fingerboard cleaner and prep. And what it does, this is going to clean off any of that fine fret polish that I just used that got on the fingerboard and any kind of dirt and grub. Lemon oil doesn't really clean the fretboard, it just treats it so it's darker, right? And just makes it look pretty. But we want to get it nice and clean. This stuff stinks. Jeepers. All right. So what I'll do is get my cloth out of here. I never use the same cloth for polishing or waxing that I use for cleaning the crap off of fretboards. So this one is my fretboard cleaning cloth that I always use for this stuff. It's probably not a good idea to mix guitar cleaners and stuff with on a rag that's been on this cleaner. This stuff's probably a little abrasive, I would think. It's got to be somewhat safe because they know it's going to be around guitar finishes and stuff, but you know, why take the chance? Plus this cloth is kind of damp already from this cleaner. So we've got the fretboard nice and clean from what I can tell. Not super anal about it, but man, that's so much nicer. Cool. Now the lemon oil, this Dunlop deep conditioner. Just going to put some of this on there. You really don't have to leave this stuff on long. I've heard some people say, I'll leave it on there for like 3 or 4 minutes. It can only soak up so much. It's not really going to soak in a ton. It's mostly on the surface, so I usually just put it on and pretty much immediately wipe it off. I do let it soak in a little bit. I guess superstition. This is cleaning up really nice. Looking really, really a lot darker. Rub it in a little bit. Sweet. Now I'll get my lemon oil cloth that I always use out of here. That's this one. That looks so much nicer, so much better. Is it just me, or does the rosewood on this top neck look darker than this one? This is a little bit lighter. You can see more streaks in it. This one up here is darker. Never noticed that before. Cool, alright, awesome, awesome. Now, just your standard Dunlop 65 guitar polish and cleaner. Some people put this on a rag before they spray it. I just spray it right on. I'm old school, I guess. Okay, so I'll get the back of the guitar later. Not too worried about it. And here's my cleaner rag that I use. You can see how much the difference in color. My polish rag. What really makes these guitars pop is this body gloss stuff. Really makes the guitar slippery, man. It's like a surfboard. I'm not going to be super crazy about getting this thing its ultimate cleanest, because it's going to get dirty eventually, but I'm going to get the major fingerprints off of it and make sure it's okay. I'll get the backs and the sides after it's strung up. It's always really gratifying to get the headstock because you can never polish this stuff up when there's strings on it, and you know, it's a magnet for dust. This thing stays in the case, so it's really actually not dusty at all. It's been well taken care of. Just a little neglected when it comes to string changes and, you know, little setups here and there. Okay. I'm going to put some wax on this guitar for now, just to get in spots that I can't normally get when the strings are on it. So I'm gonna do just a little bit in here, and once the guitar's strung up, we'll wax the whole thing, because I'm going to handle this quite a bit, putting the strings on it. Probably wind up polishing it again too, but while the strings are off of it, I'm going to go ahead and get the initial polishing done. I use like a terry cloth wash rag when I do wax. It just seems to grab the wax better than any residual crud that's on the guitar. And wipe it off, and then find a dry spot on the rag and get it. Hit these pickups while I'm at it. Alright, cool. Now for the daunting task of getting the strings on here. Now look at this, the bridge on this thing. This is what that looks like. So the bridge of the 12 string doesn't really have holes that you put them through. You just run the strings underneath that tail piece, and there's little slots. The 6 string tail piece looks the same. It's just bolted right on the guitar. Typical tunematic looking bridge. Probably have to adjust all that. We'll set it up once it's restrung. So first things first, we're gonna I'll put the 12 strings on first. The worst part about doing 12 strings is the G, the high G, is extremely susceptible to break when you're putting it on there, because it's so small. It's just the tiniest thing in the world. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to separate these strings to, let's see, there's the high E, there's the B's, there's the G strings, I think. I got to look at the chart. Those are the G's, that's the D, and I could look at the color codes. That's going to be the A and the E, the low E's. Cool. So the first thing, let me double check my colors on here. Haven't done this in forever. Yeah, so the brass is going to be the low E's, the reds, the A's, the blacks, the D's, the greens, the G's, the B's are purple, and the high E's are silver. So I got it right. Cool. All right. We'll do a couple of these live on camera, then I will speed up the process by doing some editing. So on these guitars, you've got a low E, and then you've got this string, which is like a D, and they're both going to be tuned to an E, right? So what you want to do is, when you string them up, you run them through these tailpiece grooves like this, and they're close together, and you string them up accordingly like this, and then this higher one is going to be an octave higher than this string. So this can be a standard low E, and this will be an octave higher. When you get to the B and the E strings, they're the same pitch. But with the E, A, D, and G, one's going to be normal pitch, the thicker one, and the higher gauge, or the lighter string's going to be one octave higher. That's what makes it sound like a 12 string. So I'm going to fight with this off camera, and I'll come back once I get it on there, okay? Cool. Okay, so about 15 minutes later, I've got the strings on the 12 string ready to go. Out of tune, haven't tuned it yet, and have not set it up. I'm going to put the 6 strings on next, and I had to adjust this bridge. When you polish one of these guitars up, you know, you're always going to move the bridge is going to come down or up, so it always gets messed up. But I can tell that the neck on this thing has a little bit too much relief, so this neck's going to need to be adjusted, tightened up just a little bit. And I suspect the other one may also. This is probably going to have to come down a tad, just maybe quarter turn, and then straighten the neck out just a little bit. I can see that it's got a little bit too much relief in it. But more on that later. So the hard part is over, really, with the 12 strings being put on. So I only bled myself once. I think one of the B strings poked me, which is kind of inevitable. So I'm going to go ahead and get these strings on, and I'll be back in just a moment. So we're gonna see what it looks like all strung up. Then we'll do a setup on it. Okay? Awesome. Cool. Alright, I've got everything strung up just fine. The 6 string and the 12 string are both ready to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tune the guitar up, and then I'm going to play it a little bit just to see what the setup feels like. And I like things set up exactly the way I like them to feel, so sometimes I don't go exactly by spec, the way that, you know, Gibson or Fender, PRS, whatever, however they do it. When I'm doing my own guitars, I just do it the way I like it. So I'm going to tune these up. Now if you look or listen, I've got this low E tuned and then the high E. So those are unison. Alright. So we're going to go up to an A. I'm on the fatter of the A strings. Now as I do this, there's so much tension on this guitar neck, it's gonna wind up making everything go out of tune a little bit. So I'm just gonna get close for now. There's the octave on those A's. Now to do the D. Okay, now you can tell they're slightly going out just because of the tension on the neck. Now I'm going to go up to this G. Now this thin G string makes you nervous. Now I don't cut, one thing I don't do is I don't cut the G string really short when I put it on there, because this string can slip so easily. It'll pull this string a little bit through the tuner no matter what you do. So I let this string stretch out, this high G, as much as possible before I commit to cutting off that string. Alright, so now we're doing the B. Boy, this is exciting YouTube content. Alright, so the B. I'm looking at my tuner. Okay, these two are in unison. Okay, then the high E is going to be in unison with each other too. There. One thing that's tough about doing these double necks is there's not a way to put a winder on these strings here, so you've got to do these by hand, and that's when you can poke yourself. Or alright, so there's the 12. Let's see how much it moved. Let's see, a little bit. Maybe about 2 cents flat. Very good. Cool. Now I'll tune the 6 string. The action on this 12 is pretty high, man. It's pretty high. So I'm going to lower this a little bit and tighten this truss rod up a little bit. I can tell already. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tune this up. I'm going to play it just a little bit off camera, and then we'll come back and talk about setups. Okay, so everything checked out pretty good as far as action on the bottom neck. It's a little high, so I'm going to... Okay, so after further review and jamming on this a little bit, I'm going to lower the bridge on the 12 string. It's going out of tune because I'm lowering it. It's kind of high. Now it's fretting out up there on the high frets, so got to get that so it's not fretting out. Even though I don't play up top here very much, just want to make sure we're not fretting out. And then I'm going to look at the action on it and probably tighten the truss rod just a tick. Alright, so now the action is pretty high right here. So when I put my fingers on the 12th fret, I can see it's a little high right in this section compared to what it should be. So there's a little bit of curvature, a little bit of too much relief. Now on this one, the 6 string neck, I can lower that bridge substantially. Make sure we're not getting buzz up here. If it's too low, you'll always get buzz way up high. If your neck is too tight, too taut, you'll get buzzing up around the 3rd, 2nd, 3rd, 4th frets. So my goal is to always get it as low as you can with the bridge without it buzzing like that. That's got to come up a little bit. It's hitting the pickups a little bit. They've got these pickups raised really high. Looks like that string maybe, it's not hitting the pickup, but man, it's close. I got to lower those pickups. Okay, so I've got these bridge pieces down as low as I can go without it causing any kind of buzzing up here. It's about as low as we can get. So now I'm going to give the truss rods a 1/4 turn to the right. So I got to take these plates off. Okay, time to turn the truss rods a little bit, get us a little little bit more taut neck here. The first thing you want to do before you do this is give it a little bit of a turn to the left, just to give it a little bit, just to loosen it just a tad. So I've got my Gibson wrench here, so I'm going to give it a little bit of a turn to the left. Okay, that kind of lets it settle in. Okay, so now I'm gonna bring it up, give it a little bit of a quarter, maybe a quarter turn. All right, cool. Now I'm going to turn this one to the left just a little. All right, let it kind of chill, and then give it a good quarter turn. Let's look at it now. That looks better. I think we could do just a slight turn on the double neck or the 12 string, just a little bit. The 6 string needs a little bit more than that. So we're going to go just a little on this guy, and on this one we're going to go there, do that. So let's see what that looks like. Doesn't take much. That looks pretty good. Make sure there's no buzzing on the frets, like the third, second and third. Much better. Feels much better. Okay, very good, very good. All right, so this one's buzzing a little bit, but that's because the bridge is down too low, and it was kind of hitting that pickup. So while we're at it, I don't know why. Oh, it's a straight. It's standard screw. I hate that. All right, I gotta lower this pickup down and this one just a little bit. Cool. I think I've got the action set the way I want. I'm going to leave the truss rod covers off of it. I'm going to test it out real quick and come back and let you know. And if it's good, I'm going to wax it up and we'll do a demo. Cool. Okay, so I've got this thing set up just right. The adjustments I made right before I stopped the video last time were dead on. So what I did in a nutshell was when I set up these guitars, I wind up bringing the bridge down closer to the body, as close as I can without it fretting out when I'm playing up on the 12th, 15th fret, the 10th, somewhere around there. If it starts to fret out a little bit and you can hear buzz, it's too low, right? So I get it to the point where it's on the threshold of buzzing, and then I look and I see if there's a little bit of gap, a higher gap within here. I could measure the string height, but I look to see if there's higher string height in this area when I hold the 12th fret down, and I compare also like how high the string is off the 1st fret when I'm on the 3rd fret like that, and I could tell that there was a little bit of too much relief, so I did a good quarter turn or so on this one and about a half a turn on the 6th string, and they're great. I don't have any buzzing anywhere, and it's great. It sounds awesome. I can't wait to do the demo and let you hear it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wax this guitar up. I'm not going to film that. I'm just going to polish it really good and plug it in, and we'll do a sound test and check it out. Awesome.